On the morning of day 21, she has a cheeky finger or two of delicious marinara, makes some notes on her map.
Propane here. Junkyard where I spent some nights.
Then she hits the road, heading north, she thinks.
Want to see what the world offers us, Margaret. Out on the road again.
She stops by an overgrown field, humming and stinky with delicious wild fruits and vegetables. She hopes. The field is a veritable gold mine of goodies, including some...
There we go. Bloody potatoes. Pretty spooky out here, Margaret. What's that then? An onion? Some lovely worms. Put those worms in your pocket, Margaret. Slug. So many bugs. Start a little museum of bugs, Margaret.
After collecting food and stuffing her pockets with a worrying number of insects, Margaret heads up the road, when she stumbles across something very, very exciting.
Oh, it appears they broke down, but I do believe that's the first RV we've come across. Well aware that this could have been her and her husband.
While the RV is in very good condition, she decides that it isn't time to settle down quite yet. Not until she's found some remnant of Leslie, at least, and she has grown quite fond of Vincent. She can't abandon him quite yet, but she is going to keep this RV in mind for the future.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves and abandon Vincent. I think for now, we should just keep continuing.
So for now, Margaret leaves the RV where it is and continues on. She needs to find somewhere to spend the night. And so she finds these eerie abandoned shacks that might do the job.
Doesn't appear to be many zombies around.
This will do just fine, she thinks. Margaret stops to take a cold, very cold, disgusting shower in the dregs of whatever water supply the building has, then gets into a dead person's bed to read before sleep. She's just getting used to life on the road, and she doesn't mind sleeping in these beds anymore. Plus, she's pretty sure she left her tent in the warehouse a few miles away. Anyway. Nice one, Margaret. There we go. Now we can see. We're not really interested in looting these buildings, so I think we'll probably just leave, Margaret. How about that? Spent the night in a small cabin. Largely uneventful, of course. Margaret ventures out on that dark morning, riding Vincent with confidence. She stumbles across several large empty warehouses in the rotten fields, and decides to investigate the little shed at the end of the lot. Wood glue. Fantastic. 'Twas worth it, Margaret. 'Twas worth it. We can use that to repair our tyres, I believe. She forages in the nearby field for food, as she'll need it for the next leg of her adventure. Leek. Snail. Yes, please. Broccoli. After stuffing Vincent's pockets with vegetables and bugs like a madwoman, she kicks the bike to life and heads on. Yeah, these are definitely the kind of places that I like to check out. Look at this enormous building, Margaret. Let's go say hello to the mannequin. Hello.
Hello, Margaret.
Margaret's going crazy. The mannequin is talking to her. The house is massive and quite nice inside, but Margaret isn't looking for a home. She smokes a cigarette next to Vincent, then starts up the bike to find the next new place to explore. You're back with Vincent now. Your sturdy steed. What's this then? Ekron Elementary School. They might have some nice books in here for us, Margaret. Oh, look at her feet. Oh, I do not like those feet. I do not like how they move. I hear them. This is horrible. Hello? It's clear that some people had tried to hole up in the school. Blankets on the windows, turned over cabinets. The place reeks of death. Margaret goes slowly and steadily, her breath coming hard and fast. She takes out a few of the zombies that still linger inside, and investigates the small school library. Well, they're all beginner books, which makes sense because it is an elementary school. These kids aren't geniuses, they are just children. But overall, this place is giving me a really bad feeling, so I'm gonna leave. Yeah, gonna proceed on foot. I feel like Vincent's gonna be a bit too noisy right now. Every time she sees a zombie, she wonders if it's Leslie, and this man looks nothing like Leslie, so it's quite reassuring. Margaret checks out the little postal office to see if they have any magazines, but it's just offices, nothing else of use. The evening light is beginning to fade and Margaret needs to find somewhere to sleep. She returns to Vincent and rides a little further into the town of Ekron. She doesn't have to go far. The Ekron Inn. Well, Margaret, that sounds perfect for us, doesn't it? Investigate. Margaret investigates the Ekron Inn, clearing out room by room, and even though it's not the most welcoming place, she settles down in room number 1. She gets her bugs out of her pockets and spreads them on the mattress, then drinks an entire bottle of bourbon. Margaret loves bugs. They are her only friends. Whoa! She's getting funky with it in the room. She's so drunk she's reading hanging off the bed. She's losing her mind. Looking pretty good though, Margaret, as you do it. Very snazzy. Very snazzy indeed. Well, this is a little bit weird. She's taking all her clothes off now, which is not really what my intention was, but that is what she's doing. I just want to see how long her hair is, because her hair was very short. I'm not making her get undressed for any sultry reasons. She's gone mad, basically. Wow, you are wearing so many clothes. Wow, her hair is so long and so grey. I guess it has been a fairly stressful few weeks. Is her hair always this grey? I don't remember. I think it's turned grey because of the zombies. Okay, Margaret, time to put everything back on. Put your clothes back on, Margaret, and then you can go to bed. Okay. Good night, Margaret. Good morning, my little bug woman. Good morning, Vincent. Margaret takes Vincent a little further into Ekron, stopping at this small clinic to collect some medical supplies, a bottle of disinfectant and some antibiotics which might come in handy later, then continues on. A little further and she finds Bazza's tools. Bazza the Undead. God, it sounds like there's a lot of zombies somewhere. The major issue is that Vincent doesn't have much room left in his little pockets. All these tools and useful items are just getting left behind. Bazza? It sounds like there are so many zombies upstairs. I'm just gonna close the door. I don't want to deal with that. Margaret finds a library where folks have been playing board games as the world ended. In the back, she finds a basic mechanics book, huzzah, but quickly comes to the realization that she can't possibly keep all those books in Vincent's pockets. Something has to change. After looting the parlour and finding so many good books she can't carry, Margaret finally makes a difficult decision. Vincent's little pockets just aren't big enough. It's time to upgrade her transportation. So many books. We need more space. She could recover that RV from the field, or she could return to that beautiful yellow school bus. She makes her mind up. School bus here. It's quite a distance away, but I think we can get there. We can take a different route, you know, this way. Stop off with the sledgehammer actually, because we're going to need the sledgehammer to clear the inside of the bus. So that's what we're going to do. Because Vincent's pockets are just stuffed. We just don't have enough room. I'm sorry, Vincent. So, with her mind made up, she sets off towards the bus, but immediately takes a wrong turn, and things really start to hot up. Don't fall off, Vincent, whatever you do, Margaret. Whoa. Don't fall off your bike now, Margaret. Slow and steady. There's a lot of ruined buildings here. Just rode off into the countryside, Margaret. Where are you going? Yeah, I would be panicked too. Quite a lot of zombies here. Where are you going, Margaret? There's a little camp here and one of the zombies is on fire. It's going to cause a massive, massive, massive fire in the woods. Oh god. Oh my god, we need to get out of here. What are we even doing here, Margaret? We need to go. Get on the bike. We need to get out of here. There's going to be a huge forest fire. Everything's going to burn to the ground. Get out of here, Margaret. You took a wrong turn somewhere and ended up in a crazy neighbourhood. Who even set that fire? Maybe there's a survivor? Maybe it was Leslie? She didn't really have time to think. Eventually, after all that chaos, she makes it back to one of her temporary bases. She pauses for a moment to figure out her next steps. The idea of that fire creeping through the forest is unsettling, but there's nothing she can do about it now. Let's have a cigarette and think about what we're going to do. I think we should spend the night here. You need to look for a watch on one of these zombies, because I don't know where you've thrown yours to, Margaret. And then we're going to go and pick up the bus. We're going to pick up the sledgehammer here. We're going to work on the bus, where it is, probably. Margaret heads upstairs and finds her old meat pocket still there, along with her plushie, Freddy. She sits on the cold, hard ground and reads about mechanics. She's going to need all the skills she can to get to repair the busted old school bus.
Margaret.
A zombie?
No. Margaret.
She awakes in the night. She swears she could hear a voice, a distant, calling voice. Margaret, Margaret. But there is nothing but deathly silence in the warehouse. She reads her book by torchlight before she calms down enough to get back to sleep. She's just chain-smoking cigarettes. I mean, it does make sense being out here in the wilderness, surrounded by zombies with no hope or human contact for almost 3 weeks. She's starting to lose it. And so the journey back to the bus continues. It's peaceful, but not without its incidents. It's time to leave. Drive through the quiet woods. Oh! That was a big bang. Sorry, Margaret. Crashed into the back of the trailer. It's okay, there was no major injuries there. You gotta be careful. Here it is. Alright, so it doesn't look like much right now, but this is where we're gonna slowly do up our bus here. This is what we're working with inside, by the way. She makes it back to the bus in one piece, a little banged up, but not too hurt. She gets to work clearing out the inside of the bus with the sledgehammer, and in her manic state of smashing stuff up, she accidentally makes a pretty dumb mistake. Oh no, I just destroyed the light switch. Oh no, Margaret. Never fear, she's been reading about electricity and stores a new light she yoinks from the school in the back of the bus. No problem at all. And it looks quite nice. Nice work, Margaret. You might need another one, because it's still a little dark on this end, but we can turn it on and off too. Lovely. Okay. What she can do though, just quickly put down her bugs on her work table. Yes. Her little bug friends. While Margaret is learning how to do DIY here and there, she's still fairly forgetful. She wants to get to bed. But she can't get to bed without level 2 carpentry, and she can't level carpentry without a hammer, and somehow Margaret doesn't have a hammer. She has seen hundreds of them, thousands, and there's not a single one in her possession. So she begins looting the various buildings around the school to find one. Someone in the cupboard, someone in the cupboard. 3 pairs of jeans on the bed. Weird. Hammer, please. Wow. I love it. And an empty gas can. She takes some of her new loot back to the bus, including these fancy shelves. It'll take a while before the bus is truly cozy inside, but we'll get there. It's like you've just moved into a new house. Sit on the floor and drink a whole bottle of white wine to celebrate, Margaret. Nice. We christened this bus Beatrice. Beatrice the bus and Margaret. 2 old dears. Beatrice definitely seems like an excellent name. So the life of Margaret and Beatrice begins. She sits on the floor inside Beatrice's gut and drinks wine, reads a book, then falls asleep on the musty sofa. Furiously read, Margaret, furiously read until 10 o'clock, and then you can go to sleep. I'm going to sleep on this musty old bus seat. It feels very safe in here. Margaret wakes up to the sounds of jets roaring overhead. She strokes all the bugs on her table to keep her sane, and then prepares for the day. A day of looting on Vincent. She finds a fridge and a nice luggage chest she likes the look of, as well as a bookcase and a loo lamp. Beatrice is starting to look a bit more like home. Very cozy. Okay, let's put up this. Just had an idea for tonight's dinner also, Margaret. Gonna grab this barbecue. We can cook up our leek and broccoli, I think, in this barbecue. We're not going to put the barbecue inside the bus because you'll die. Ah, lovely. She attempts to grill the broccoli and leek on the barbecue, but it is impossible. She stares at the rock-hard vegetables on the grill. Why aren't they burning? Has she gone mad? They taunt and tease her. To distract herself from the invincible vegetables, she decorates Beatrice with some of the things she has found. Very cozy indeed. I'd love to paint the inside of the bus, I think, would be a good decision. It's pretty grey and it kind of stinks in here, needs a good wash. Put down some nice carpet, perhaps. Satisfied with how Beatrice looks inside now, she heads out to loot a few more houses. Someone out there. Oh my good god, that made my... Oh god, I jumped in my chair. I'm sorry, Margaret. Aye. Oh, it's a lovely evening. Sunset colours. Gorgeous. Let's just get back to the bus. Let's get back to Beatrice. Barbecue's still burning. It's impenetrable, invincible. Yeah, they're still in there, not cooking. And then we need a reading chair, don't we, really? Let's grab Mechanics Volume 2 and we'll read again before bed. On day 26, it's more of the same. She starts with a smoke and then heads out to get her loot on. She stumbles across a birthday party of zombies in one of the gardens and takes her time cleaving their heads open with her trusty crowbar. Then it's time to take some of the strange rage she's been feeling out on the furniture in every goddamn building. She smashes everything to pieces. Margaret is angry and alone. The furniture fills her wrath. Destroy everything in a mad rage, Margaret. Destroy it all. Without smashing things up, she's unable to pick up this delightful single bed, which she wants very much for her new bus, Beatrice. She marks it down on the map so she won't forget where it is. Let's mark this on the map as a lovely single bed for me. She's going crazy. She calms down for a moment and tries to remember where she is and what she's doing. Oh yes, the bed. She must smash everything up so that she can have a bed. Oh yes. When she returns to the bus after a long day of smashing things, she is dismayed to see that she can't place the curtains down inside Beatrice. She drinks a beer, then tries to sleep on the musty sofa. Shame about the curtains, eh, Margaret? But that's alright. Just drink your beer. Drink your nice, cold beer. Delicious. 8:30, she is ridiculously tired, so let's sleep on our lovely cushion. Turn the light off.
Are you there?
She wakes up with more night terrors, but there is nothing in the bus with her. She turns on the light and smokes a cigarette, and eventually she can rest again. On the next morning, she fills up Beatrice with a little bit of Vincent's lifeblood and then turns the engine on. She roars, but it's a groggy sound like someone who has just woken up after a long nap. The bus will need a little more love, of course. Margaret heads out to continue looting in the fog. Oh my god. Oh, Margaret made me jump so much. Actually made my heart skip a beat. I feel a bit sick. After that fright, she just grabs this TV and goes right back to the bus. She doesn't want to die in the fog. Margaret puts the TV in the bus and it's starting to look real homey in there. Then it's back to the shed behind the TV house where she finds a generator, which will be useful for a gas station at some point. Beatrice is one hungry girl, Marx reckons. Margaret is now desensitized. She's killed 589 zombies, survived for 27 days and 2 hours. Margaret is now a stone-cold killer, desensitized. She's seen enough. Then she finds a cooking pot, but it's full of stew, so she just... pour the rotten stew all over your feet, Margaret. Gross. Gross, Margaret. Completely gross. She also collects this oven and carries it all the way back to the camp. Margaret strong. Margaret fits the oven in the back of Beatrice and admires the shiny metal. She will cook many delicious meals here, but not until she reads about how to make a basic soup. She reads, she smokes, she sleeps. On day 28, Margaret hops on for one of her last rides on her trusty motorbike Vincent, and the bike grumbles in the cold morning air. She heads out to loot more houses, as this is all that Margaret can do to stifle the panic attacks. She goes building to building, destroying everything, taking out her rage. She can't find her husband, and the world is going quiet with death. Margaret stands in the ruin of one room and stares at a beige chair. It is a beautiful chair, isn't it, Margaret? She leaves it alone, to rot for eternity. Back at the bus, she drops off her loot. Leslie used to play the guitar. She never learned. Now there's no one left to teach her. Unless, of course, she can find her husband somewhere. This whole tin of beans, slurp them down, Margaret. Loot deposited and refueled with beans, sweet beans, Margs makes a plan to move the bus up to another temporary base, so she can make repairs to Beatrice's smashed windows and poorly insides. There are, however, a few things she can do now before they leave, like replace the tyres and pump them with air. Nice, okay. Beatrice is already looking in better shape. She pillages the Bender's electronics van for parts, mostly tyres, brakes and suspension pads. The rotund gentleman on the side of the van looks down at her. She feels like he is watching her intensely. Margaret is not a very good mechanic, and she practically destroys the parts as she tries to remove them, but she is learning. She sits on the floor of Beatrice, it is cold but still somehow cozy, and reads about cooking before bed. Smoke a cigarette, just performing the mundanity of life right now, Margaret she is. Margaret she is. And it's a lovely rainy morning. It's a cold, wet morning on day 29. Check our surroundings, if there's any zombies around. There's one up there. I will take care of that one because in the past I've almost died by one just sneaking up on me, so I'm gonna just go kill this guy, I think. Hi! She had a panic attack again. So even though she's desensitized, she still feels anxious every now and then. It's nothing a sweet little cigarette can't sort out. The brakes and suspension is still pretty dodgy, and a lot of the windows are smashed. The hood is in a bad shape.
Now is the question. Here she is, the beauty. She's on the move, Beatrice. Look at her. Gorgeous, gorgeous lady. Hello, Beatrice. You're so pretty. Look at your eyes. Let's go see if she can... Whoa, she turns like a beast. Let's see if we can hook her up to this trailer. Oh, amazing. Now we're talking, Margaret. Look at this incredible setup we got. Beatrice in the trailer. Oh my god, she moves like a slug. Margaret decorates the inside of Beatrice and then tries to finally go and get that lovely single bed she found in a nearby building. Come on, don't break it. Shit. She only broke half of it as well. For God's sake. She goes and collects the generator from that shed, and with that, it's almost time to move on. Ah yes, the magical generator dance. Amazing. Let's go drop this off in the trailer, I think. Alright then. I think we're almost set to go, aren't we, Margaret? Beatrice is ready-ish. I mean, she's still pretty smashed up, but we can fix her on the move. Still have to find Leslie. As for Vincent... we best keep him somewhere safe. Let's take him there now. Take him to a garage, I think. Somewhere out of the rain, somewhere he can keep safe. So we'll be back for you, boy, don't worry. Let's leave him in this garage here. We'll be back for you, Vincent. You've been a very sturdy, reliable boy. We'll be back. We won't forget about you. Oh, Vincent, the old reliable, her only friend in the wasteland. Margaret will not forget about you, old boy. Vincent. Vincent in a garage here. She's feeling healthy enough now and safe enough to do some exercise. Then she sits on the floor and reads before bed. Her journey has only just begun.